He never expected love to walk through that cafe door. In fact, he wasn't even supposed to be there. His friend begged him to go on a blind date in his place, just to help him out of an awkward situation. He agreed because that's the kind of man he was, always putting others first. A single dad trying to do the right thing, even when life had been more than a little unfair to him. But when she walked in, powerful, elegant, confident, everything stopped. He didn't know her name yet, but he felt something deep in his chest that he hadn't felt in a long, long time. Before we start, if you enjoy stories about kindness, second chances, and the beauty of being human, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Your support helps us continue sharing stories like this here on Sprinkle Kindness. He was a mechanic, hands rough, jeans faded from long days at the shop. His name was Mark. After his wife passed away 4 years ago, he had been doing everything he could to raise his daughter, Lily, on his own. He loved her more than anything. Every morning, he tied her hair into 2 messy braids and packed her lunch before school. Every night, he read her stories until she fell asleep. He didn't have time for dating. He didn't think anyone would want a man who carried so much brokenness. His friend, Jake, had been trying to get him to meet new people for years. But Mark always said no. So when Jake showed up, practically begging him to take his place on a date he was too nervous to go to, Mark sighed and finally agreed. He wore his one decent button-up shirt. The sleeves were a little short and the collar felt too tight, but Lily's smile that morning gave him courage. She hugged him around the waist and whispered, "Daddy, you look handsome." That was all he needed. He arrived at the cafe early and ordered a coffee just to keep his hands busy. He felt out of place among the polished marble tables and soft jazz playing in the background. The place was a little too nice for him. The kind of place where the silverware had weight, and the napkins were made of actual cloth. He wondered who this woman was. Maybe this whole thing was a bad idea. But then she walked in. Her name was Olivia. Tall, poised, wearing a dark green coat that looked like something from a magazine. She moved with quiet certainty, like someone used to being listened to. She scanned the room, her eyes thoughtful, searching. And when her gaze landed on him, something warm flickered behind her expression, surprise, maybe, or curiosity. She sat down and smiled softly. "You must be Mark." Her voice was gentle. Not the sharp, commanding tone he expected from someone who clearly had a successful life. He nodded, suddenly aware of every callus on his hands. They talked. At first politely. Weather, work, coffee. But then something shifted. She asked about his daughter, and he saw no judgment in her eyes. Only interest. Only kindness. He told her about Lily's love for drawing. About how she doodled flowers on every scrap of paper she found. About how she asked about her mom sometimes, and how he never knew the perfect words to say. Olivia listened, not the way people sometimes pretend to listen, waiting for their turn to speak. She listened like she cared. When she spoke about herself, she didn't boast. She told him she ran a company. A large one. But she said it like it was just something she did, not something that defined her. Her eyes softened when she said she had grown up poor. And that maybe success had never really filled the quiet places inside her life. They talked for nearly 2 hours. When they stood to leave, Mark apologized for not being what she probably expected. He gestured awkwardly to his clothes, his truck parked outside, his whole life that suddenly felt too small. But Olivia just shook her head. "I didn't come for perfection," she said. "I came for something real." They exchanged numbers. And that night, Mark found himself smiling while washing dishes. He hadn't smiled like that in a long time. Days passed. Then weeks. They met again. Once for lunch at a park. Another time at a bookstore, where Lily came along. To Mark's surprise, Olivia and Lily bonded instantly. Olivia knelt to Lily's level, asked about her drawings, and truly admired them. She didn't try to replace a mother. She simply showed up. With patience. With gentleness. Mark watched them together and felt something fragile and beautiful growing. But life has a way of testing fragile things. One afternoon, the news broke publicly. A CEO in the city seen dating a mechanic. It spread online. It spread to her board. The world seemed to care too much about the difference in their lifestyles. Some said she was making a mistake. Others treated him like a charity case. Mark stepped back. He stopped answering her messages. He believed he was protecting her. That she deserved someone who matched her world. Someone without scars, debt, and late nights fixing engines to pay bills. But Olivia wasn't someone who gave up. She showed up at his home. In the rain. Jacket soaked. Hair wet. Determined. When he opened the door, she looked him straight in the eyes and said, "You don't get to decide you're not worthy of love. Not for me. Not for her. We choose. And we choose you." Lily ran to her and hugged her legs. Mark's throat tightened. All his fear melted into something soft and overwhelming. He stepped forward. He didn't say anything. He just wrapped his arms around them both. And for the first time since he lost his wife, he let himself hope. Love didn't come because he chased it. It came because he was kind. Because he showed up in the world with a gentle heart, even when the world had not always been gentle to him. And kindness has a way of opening doors no one expects. This story reminds us that kindness is not weakness. It is strength. It is courage. It is choosing to care in a world that sometimes forgets how. If you believe kindness can change lives, share this story. And remember, love can find us when we least expect it. Sometimes, all it takes is showing up with a good heart. Spread kindness today.